Rain hammered the sidewalk like it had a grudge. He ducked under the awning of a half-lit diner, shaking water from his jacket. The kind of jacket that used to be sharp, now just threadbare at the elbows. He wasn't always like this. Nah. Before Chicago, before cubicles and spreadsheets, there was a small town in Ohio. Jack grew up in a place where everybody knew your name and your business. His dad worked long hours at a factory by the river, hands always rough, voice always calm. His mom worked nights at a diner, bringing home stories instead of money. They weren't rich, but they were solid. Dinner was simple, conversations were honest. His dad used to say, "Money comes and goes, son, but how you treat people, that sticks." Jack learned early what responsibility looked like. Mowing lawns at 12, bagging groceries at 15, not because he had to, but because he wanted to help. When his dad passed unexpectedly, Jack became the man of the house overnight. No big speeches, just quiet strength. That's where the work ethic came from. That's where the pride came from, too. And maybe that's also where the fear of failure was born. Leaving Ohio for Chicago felt like freedom, but it also felt like pressure. He wasn't just chasing success, he was running from the idea of disappointing the people who raised him. A year back, life had rhythm, steady, predictable. He had a desk job at a mid-sized logistics firm in Chicago. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the rent on a one-bedroom in Wrigleyville. Weekends meant grabbing a beer with buddies after a Cubs game, yelling at the TV like their cheers could swing the score. Dreams? Yeah, he had 'em. Maybe start his own delivery service one day. Tech-savvy, efficient. The future felt like a roadmap he could follow. But maps tear, and his started fraying at the edges. It began subtle. Whispers in the office about restructuring. Emails from HR that nobody wanted to open. He ignored the signs at first, buried himself in spreadsheets, clocked extra hours. "Just gotta hustle," he'd mutter to his reflection in the break room mirror. His name was Jack Harlan, but back then he was just the guy who gets it done. Reliable. The one who stayed late without complaining. Then the email hit. Regret to inform. Layoff. Severance? A joke. 2 weeks' pay and a pat on the back. He sat in his cubicle, staring at the screen, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees. His stomach twisted. Not fear yet, more like disbelief. "This ain't me," he thought. "I'll bounce back." Weeks turned to months. Resumes fired into the void. Interviews that led nowhere. Overqualified, they said, or we're going in a different direction. Bills piled up like uninvited guests. Rent, utilities, that credit card he'd sworn was just for emergencies. He started skipping meals to stretch the cash. Sold his bike, then his TV. Friends, they called at first. "Hey man, tough break, let's grab a drink." But drinks cost money, and excuses piled up. "Busy applying," he'd text. Truth was, shame kept him home. Isolation crept in slow, like fog over Lake Michigan. One night, alone in his apartment, now stripped bare, just a mattress and a lamp, he cracked open a beer from the last six-pack. The fridge hummed empty behind him. He scrolled through old photos on his phone. Him at a barbecue, arm around Sarah, his ex. She'd left 6 months before the layoff, saying he was too focused on work. Ironic now. He deleted the pic. No point dwelling. But the ache lingered. Success wasn't just crumbling, it was evaporating, leaving him exposed, raw. Financial pressure mounted like a vice. He pawned his watch, the one his dad gave him before passing. "For hard times," Dad said. Hard times? This was rock bottom approaching. He avoided mirrors, hating the hollow eyes staring back. Shame burned hot. Silence became his companion. No more calls home to Mom in Ohio. "How's the job hunt?" she'd ask. He couldn't bear the pity in her voice. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, the eviction notice slipped under the door. Red ink. Final. He crumpled it, heart pounding. Where to now? The streets? No, not yet, but the edge loomed closer, sharper. He stepped out into the rain again. No destination, just movement, because stopping meant facing it all, and he wasn't ready. Not yet. Hunger doesn't whisper, it roars. Jack Harlan, yeah, that was his name, even if these days it felt like it didn't belong to him anymore, woke up stiff and cold on a park bench, dawn light cutting through bare branches overhead. His stomach twisted hard, loud enough to remind him he hadn't eaten right in 3 days. Real food, at least. Yesterday's dinner was half a granola bar he found behind a cafe, wrapper torn, dignity already gone. He sat up slowly, bones aching, joints protesting like they were older than he was. Around him, the city was already alive. People jogging with earbuds in, office workers clutching coffee like it was oxygen, lives moving forward. He wasn't part of that motion anymore. "Get up," his mind ordered. "Find something. Anything." Then the other voice answered back, sharp and cruel. "What for? Nobody's hiring. You already tried." He stood anyway, because standing still felt too close to giving up. He walked without direction, steps heavy, each one an argument against the idea that he was finished. Loneliness came in waves. No notifications, no buzzing phone. His service had been cut weeks ago. Now it was just dead weight in his pocket, a reminder of conversations that no longer existed. He stopped when his reflection caught him off guard in a dark store window. Gaunt cheeks, beard grown wild, eyes sunk so deep they looked like they were hiding. "Who the hell are you?" he whispered. Shame burned hot. He turned away fast, heart pounding. Being invisible was one thing. Seeing proof of it, worse. He pulled out his wallet out of habit more than hope. Cracked leather, empty slots. He unfolded the only thing inside. $1. Wrinkled, soft at the edges, folded and unfolded so many times it felt tired, like him. He stared at it for a long moment. This is it, he thought. The bottom. Counting money had become ritual now, not to spend, just to remember where the line was. Hunger tightened its grip, making him irritable. A guy brushed past him on the sidewalk. "Watch it," Jack snapped. The guy shot him a look and kept moving. Jack clenched his fists, then released them. "Chill," he muttered. "Ain't worth it." Nights were the worst. He'd curl up wherever he could, underpasses, alleys, corners of parking garages, his jacket pulled tight like it could protect him from more than the cold. That's when memories attacked. His dad standing by the Ohio River, handing him a fishing rod. "Patience, son. Life bites when you wait." Jack let out a bitter breath. "Guess I waited wrong." Then Sarah's face would show up uninvited. One night, sitting against a brick wall with the city humming around him, Jack scrolled through old photos on his phone. Him at a backyard barbecue, arm around Sarah, both of them laughing like nothing could touch them, like life was already figured out. He stared too long, then deleted it. No point dwelling. But the ache lingered. What Jack never knew was that Sarah didn't leave because she stopped loving him. She left because she felt invisible. While Jack chased stability, she watched him disappear into work, late nights, distracted dinners, conversations that never made it past, "I'm tired." She wanted him to dream out loud, to fail loudly, to be human. The night she packed her bags, she stood in the doorway longer than she needed to, hoping, praying he'd stop her. He didn't. Not because he didn't care, but because he thought holding everything together meant staying silent. She cried in the Uber on the way out. Jack sat on the couch, laptop open, staring at a screen he wasn't even reading. Two people breaking in the same room, quietly. Back in the present, the weight of it all crushed down on him. Not just the hunger, not just the cold, the loss of identity, of direction, of the man he thought he was becoming. He wiped his face hard, angry at the moisture gathering in his eyes. "Why me?" he thought. The city didn't answer. That afternoon, the growl in his stomach reached a level he couldn't ignore. It wasn't just pain anymore, it was weakness, dizziness, tunnel vision. Options ran through his head. Beg? No, pride wouldn't let him. Steal? The thought lingered longer than he liked, but no, that line still mattered. He wasn't that guy, at least not yet. His feet carried him somewhere familiar before his mind caught up, the convenience store at the corner. Bright lights, cheap food, temporary relief. Or temptation. He stopped across the street and looked at the dollar again. $1. One chance. But for what? The last dollar moment. The bell jingled like a mocking laugh as he pushed the door open. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, too bright, exposing every flaw. Jack stepped inside, the air thick with stale coffee and hot dogs on rollers. His stomach flipped, part hunger, part nerves. He hadn't planned this, or had he? The walk here felt inevitable, like gravity pulling him down. He paced the aisles slow, hands in pockets to hide the shake. Chips crinkled under his gaze. Nah, too light, wouldn't stick. Candy bars? Sugar rush, then crash. Worse than nothing. He eyed the sandwiches in the cooler,